All right, people. Our next and final review of the day is going to be for the Apple Plus series Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. Now, Monarch: Legacy of Monsters is a part of the MonsterVerse, as they deemed. Part of the movies like Godzilla, which came out in 2014, also Skull Island, also Godzilla versus Kong, and also the new upcoming movie Godzilla times Kong, the New Empire. So this is a part of that universe. So this is a television series kind of focusing on Monarch, which basically in this monster universe, Monarch is like the Shield equivalent to what Marvel in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like it's the thing,
Ex-
the organization that tracks, like how in Shield they
yeah.
track superheroes and metahumans and all the things like that and protect the world there. That's
They're
also kind of the job of Monarch, except they track, they call in this word Titans, which is what they basically name the giant monsters in this universe, like Godzilla and like Kong, Mothra, all those various different creatures. That's what they call them, Titans here. Um, and with this series, it takes place over the course, so it does flashbacks. The first part of it kind of takes course in the 40s and the 40s and the 50s, and then it also cuts to kind of present day, and then it kind of updates as well there throughout the series. So it kind of cuts back in time between those kind of the beginning of Monarch, where you see the formation of it, which you see with the character of Wyatt Russell, who plays Leonard Shaw there, and
Mhm.
then you also see the character of let's see, let me pull up of Randa
Randa,
there,
Billy
Randa,
Randa.
Billy Randa, and then also the scientist, the other scientist here. What's the woman's name? I'm trying to get her name here.
Uh,
Kiko,
Keiko,
Kiko,
yeah.
Keiko, who is also the scientist. That's her right there, hanging on there. So you see the formation of Monarch, and then what Monarch is today. And then also you see some characters here in present day there. So that's kind of the trio of characters that we follow in the 50s there, with the Wyatt Russell, who's the son of Kurt Russell, actually, and he plays also the older version of the character as well. And then you also see the characters here in present day. One played by Anna Swami,
So why?
Sawai, who plays Kate. She plays Kate Randa there, and she was part of that attack that happened in San Francisco, which they call G Day, which is what they call it
Mhm.
here in this universe. And you see kind of with her a lot of, and she's like a school teacher in San Francisco, and you see a lot of the effects that the G Day would have on somebody, which I don't think I've ever seen explored in one of these kind of kaiju monster films really before.
Yeah.
Where she's got, well, it was also in Godzilla minus one too, but well, she's got like severe PTSD. Like she's got, panic attacks, which I mean, why wouldn't you? I
Yeah.
mean, if that happened, I mean, you would be shaken and terrified too. There's a scene where she has to deal with her because her father recently died in the San Francisco attacks, and then she has to go to Tokyo to kind of settle his affairs. And then she stumbles upon something that she wasn't expecting at
No.
all. And then while she's in Japan, they have like a siren. They treat it like it's like a hurricane or earthquake where they, something an alert goes off with people
Yeah.
on people's phones and in the city where it's like, hey, maybe there's a Titan gonna come
It's a
approaching.
kaiju alert, basically.
Yeah, kaiju alert, and they have to hide underground. And there's a scene where she's hearing that sound and she's there. She's like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out. I can't stay here. Like she's freaking out,
Yeah.
you know. Which is I thought that was kind of really well explored. In her journey there to Japan, she meets a character called May, played by Kirstie Clemens. She's like a expert hacker type character here because a lot of stuff like this, you always need a good expert hacker. That always kind of
Mhm.
comes in handy. Radiant Futurity says, I'm curious to see how the writing is because I haven't been able to stand the human characters at all in these American Godzilla movies. I would say the American characters here and all of the characters in this show really do make you feel for them and care about them. And I'll get more into that there.
Mm.
Um, you also have the other character here that she meets in her Japan trip, who that's kind of the trio of characters that we follow in the kind of more modern day. I'm trying to find what was the boy's name.
Kentaro, played by Ren Watabe.
Yeah, so that's kind of the trio that makes up more of the modern day stuff where they kind of like she stumbles upon her father and then, his association with Monarch and kind of, what kind of led to kind of his this relation. Like he almost had this double life almost working for Monarch there, which mostly is a secret organization. It's still treated like very much a secret organization here in this movie. Um, I mean, in this show. So yeah, so you will see a lot of connections if you follow the MonsterVerse and all these other various different movies. You'll see some connections to those things, characters, Of course, the organization of Monarch and all those kind of Easter eggs there if you're a person who's into that. But Dusk, what is your thoughts and opinions on uh, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters?
Um, I'm a little mixed on this series. On the one hand, I like the exploration of more Monarch, but honestly, the more I learn about Monarch, the more I'm like, wow, you guys are really incompetent.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, you guys really come off pretty incompetent. The best part of this TV series is actually where you spend time with Keiko, Bill Randa, and Lee Shaw, played by Wyatt Russell, who actually does a fantastic job playing his father, Kurt Russell, in his role in the 1950s and 60s era. I think they actually have some solid chemistry and actually work really well together. And kind of establishing what Monarch wanted to stand for and the complications that come with it is actually pretty fascinating. The later mysteries, while kind of intriguing, I found honestly Kate Randa, May, and Kentaro less so. I kind of found them annoying and
Mm,
not that interesting, not that compelling, especially Kate.
mhm.
Kate and May really came off as just kind of dumb problems. Aside from like the PTS stuff with Kate, which after a certain point they just kind of mostly drop for a most part. Uh, the journey to find what happened or what happened to their father is initially compelling, but eventually it kind of gets bogged down after a while, and the mysteries kind of don't quite settle themselves into really the better part after, like, I'd say past the halfway point of season one. And then it really starts to pick up again and get kind of interesting. But by that point, I think a lot of people would be mostly done. The first three episodes are really not great showings, aside from the first episode, I would say.
Yeah. And if you're saying like, hey, is Godzilla gonna show up? I saw him in the trailer. Is he gonna make a lot of appearances in this show? Is it gonna be a Godzilla heavy show? No, it's not.
No.
It's not even gonna be that much of a Titan heavy show. I mean, they see Titans for sure. I mean, they'll encounter some other different Titans other
Yeah.
than just Godzilla. But Godzilla kind of pops up, every now and again in some episodes, just to remind you, hey, what's going on? Hey, I'm here every once in a while.
Mhm.
But no, he's not like a big part of the show there. Really, it's mostly about the human characters in this and kind of the formation of Monarch and kind of them fighting against Monarch in a lot of instances here. There's like an interesting kind of civil war that's even going on between.
Yeah, between that's where it starts to kind of get interesting. And they don't really delve into it this season. It's only hinted really
Yeah.
until later in the season.
In the Civil War, I mentioned because you have kind of a more of a new school thinking with Monarch, and then it is contrast versus the old school way of Monarch. Because with Kurt Russell's character, like I said, he's the older version of Wyatt Russell's character Shaw, who is the one of the trio that initially started Monarch, and he's fighting to bring back the old ways. He's like, I know what's best for this, and there's kind of a contrast there with kind of the new leadership going on there. With Monarch going on currently, so I thought that was kind of interesting there,
Mhm.
and to see what kind of they build up there, and then there's even another kind of monster agency there that's kind of that they're competing against that you see that is going to maybe play a role here in the future of this monster verse here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, Godzilla's like I'm just here for a paycheck. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Mhm.
there is a battle with Godzilla that shows up at the very final episode, and by the way, he looks amazing. Godzilla. I mean, the
Oh, yeah.
effects in the show do look amazing. They do look really good. And when he does show up, he does look like Godzilla from the movies. Like I wonder what the budget on this show was here. Maybe I can pull it up in a minute. But it does look really good. All the monsters do, but they do have one monster fight with Godzilla and some bird creature here, which does look good.
It's
That
like a
that looks
proto Rodan.
yeah.
I don't know the budget. I would probably guess, if I had to guess, probably 120 million, maybe
Uh
less.
Yeah, I would love to know what the kind of the budget on the show because it does look really good. So when he does show up, it is works really well. When other creatures show up, and when they kind of do that, and but that's the only thing they do. They save kind of
Yeah.
one of their big things of like a Titan battle for the very end of it. So if you're expecting a lot of
Yeah.
that to go on also on the show, Titan battles to go there, no, don't expect a lot
No.
of that either.
I
Um,
Good.
yeah. Uh, so you said you didn't really kind of too much.
Yeah.
Did you have an issue with all the human characters or just kind of Kate and May?
Kinda Kate, May, a little bit of Kentaro. It's honestly the trio that we kinda follow in the modern day. I'm gonna be honest. I really dug a lot of the modern day effects, having references to G-Day, seeing how nations kinda deal with this Titan calamity. having those alarm systems. Like when she steps off the plane, before they even get off the plane, there this Japanese guy just leans over to Kate, just like spraying for quote unquote parasites as if that's gonna do anything. It's all just it's a complete disguise of what will actually protect you against that kind of a powerhouse. There's like Godzilla evacuation paths. Honestly, could just go Titan evacuation paths, honestly. Those aspects are interesting. And how Monarch has been trying to maybe power themselves up, trying and not just a monitoring system, but actually how to maybe combat these Titans in some kind of a feasible way, which I know Legendary has been leading to because eventually in the movies they got Mecha Godzilla, and I'm sure they'll lean off of that even more later on. It like those aspects of the world building I really appreciate it, but when it comes down to the human drama, it felt like a first draft of these
Mm,
character progressions. I wanted smarter characters. I wanted, if you're going to focus on the human characters and they're investigating a mystery about Titans, we needed smarter characters making smarter decisions, and not just characters who just are emotional, like really like not very smart characters, even though the plot says they're smart. They're really just emotionally just like volatile characters that really just don't pick a logical path. And I understand for Kate's character, she can have moments of PTSD, and I thought that was good. They really don't do enough of that to really show her as being like, on one minute she's like bossing around, get the hell in my way, f you, screw you, I don't need you, and then the other half is like screaming, I don't know what to do, whatever, I'm having a panic attack, and I'm like,
yeah.
uh, bitch,
Uh,
do something.
I mean, it is a pretty really stressful situation that they're in. I mean,
I got it,
you know,
but like have some more logic then, damn it, have some survival instinct.
yeah. I mean, I want to touch on a point here before I
Okay,
go more into what the that you made. Before I go more
sure.
into the character stuff, but you mentioned like that's also another good element of this show is like showing you what this world is like with these titans. More of a like a human level there every day, like what it's like to live in a world of titans. Because like when you get the movies, the movies is going to show the big stuff. It's just going to
Right.
show a lot of the titans fighting and all that other stuff. But here it's more of a personal level of like everyday experience of like I say, it's treated more like natural disasters of these titans showing up, like an earthquake or a hurricane or something like that. Um, which I thought that was pretty interesting, like you mentioned there. And you also have people who are like conspiracy theorists around these titans. Like you have like her Uber driver when she arrives in Japan, going like, yeah, all that shit's fake. Like, they ain't really San Francisco didn't really no giant monster attacked or anything like that. So I thought that was pretty good. I thought that you had that kind of aspect in the world. Renee from Trudy said Duska would say it's better than the movie human characters because I felt like those were Michael Bay Scooby Doo levels of stupid. What would you?
Uh, I'd say it's better than the movie characters.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. They're kind of on a similar wavelength.
Oh, I disagree on that. I don't think they're in
I the newer characters are on a similar wavelength. The characters that were focusing on the 50s and 60s is where the real meat is, and there is a noticeable difference there. I think they do smarter decisions on occasion, even though who plays Keiko? Keiko, uh,
Oh, that, actress?
Mari Yamamoto. She
Mm,
makes a lot of like bullheaded decisions where I'm like, do you just want to die?
mm. You think so? I'm curious as to I mean, because maybe that's too much spoiler. I'm curious to see
Yeah.
which decision she makes. I think Shaw makes a lot of the maybe the worst decisions.
No, I agree. No, they all make dumb decisions.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what you kinda think about that maybe. But yeah, I mean, I think if you had to compare trios, like, more like the modern day versus the past,
Mhm.
I do think the past is maybe more interesting as far as the formation and how they got kinda screwed over in a lot of instances there and
Yeah.
how they're kinda competing against, obviously the United States military and, like, these weapons and there's a lot of more kind of stuff there that more harkens back to like Godzilla 1954 of like how do we use atomic weapons and these new titans that we're finding and what do we do with them and do we just kill them automatically or do we try to learn from them and what they do and obviously Kiko's character she's like trying to study these animals she's not trying to kill them automatically but fucking the military is like fucking just blow it up let's just blow the shit up let's just do it it's like you know what I mean I think that there's a lot of good stuff there not to say that the modern day trio is bad. I I can see it in maybe some aspects of, maybe they can be a little whiny, but I do think, like, their whole world kinda gets turned upside down,
Right.
in a lotta, things there, which I thought was good there. I thought that was kinda like I said, they, because they have to go on, like, this big adventure, and, like, the one girl, like, Kate, she's just a school teacher.
Yeah.
The guy, what's his name?
Kentaro.
Kentaro, he's just an artist, he does galleries, and then you have May, who's just a hacker, and then she's like all of a sudden, it's like, "Hey, you're in this grand conspiracy adventure here, you gotta completely uproot your whole lives and go around the globe, and everything like that." So I was like, yeah, I mean, I get it though. I get why you may be a little stressed and frustrated and maybe making a little bit of, bad decisions there.
She did
Um,
she did one smart move later, and if we wanna go into spoilers, I'll talk about it. She made a few moments.
okay. I don't know if I want because probably not a lot of people have probably seen the show,
That's fair. We
so
can
I
talk
probably
off stream.
yeah, so I probably don't wanna do spoilers there because I don't know. I don't think a lot of people have probably seen it, but I recommend checking it out.
Mhm.
I, didn't have I heard about people watching the show. I was waiting for it to be done so I could watch it all, and watching it all back to back to back and, like, just binging it. I was interested in the mystery. I was interested to see kinda where this would go. I was interested in a lot of the human characters. I did care about, see how they would make it out. How does this build to the broader, bigger monsterverse or whatever the hell ever. I this character's gonna pop up in the movie or something like that. I don't know, maybe, maybe not. If they just want to keep them on TV, that's also kind of fine too. But I kind of do like a lot of aspects of this show enough to go like, okay, I'd be interested to see what you do with a season two, and see where you would go with there, and see kind of how all these other there's a different dynamic that happens at the end of the series. It's a spoiler that also does change things, but yeah, I thought that was kinda interesting there. And I kinda like the globe-trotting adventure aspect too of them trying to, discover there and the performances here I think are very good, especially from, Keiko there. I thought she was really good, especially
She's one of the better.
yeah, especially there's a moment with her where she, gets a discovery.
Oh,
You prob
yeah.
yeah, that I thought that was that had me kinda choking up a little bit. I was like,
The
"Man,
last episode makes up for a lot.
yeah, the last couple, yeah, I was like,
Last
yeah, that's
couple.
yeah. So I thought that was kinda really well done there. Yeah, seeing people kinda, you'll see a lot of playing with kinda people lost in time and a little bit of that here kinda going on. That you see that kinda really, I think that does well with that. Um, yeah, so I think this is a strong show. Like I said, I would like to see a season 2. I do like these characters and would like to see them followed up on in another season. So yeah, and yeah, so I would kinda give it I'd say a tune in. I give it a kind of
Mhm.
a good tune in, strong tune in. What about for you, man?
I'm gonna give it a stream it.
Okay.
I think it's a fair show. It has its moments, but there's room for improvement. There's a lot of room for improvement. I like the aspects of the Titans. I like the everyday world stuff. I like some of the characters' actions, but they really need to kind of sharpen the characters. There, this series isn't. It has potential. It still has a lot of potential in it, and a lot of potential that can be better utilized in following seasons. And if they get better, stronger writing, really kind of improve some of the characters' decision makings, really improve the characters overall, they have a chance to really have a strong series, sci-fi series on their hands that involves Godzilla and the Titans and the legendary MonsterVerse.
Yeah.
And I want nothing more for that to happen, but they really need to make some improvements here to really improve it. But still, despite all that, I think it's a solid enough effort. I think what doesn't work, counters to have things that does work. And I don't think we really talked about it, but again, I think Wyatt Russell, Joe Tip, Anders Holm as Bill Randa, and Mary Yamamoto as Keiko. I really enjoyed their chemistry, and I thought they all did great jobs portraying their characters, and they
Yeah.
were really the standouts in this series.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell always is charming. I think he brings a lot of good charm to it, and his fast, a more witty dialogue was appreciated against the other trio, and really kind of saved a lot of those scenes. Honestly, having him there, uh,
Yeah.
so it's going to be interesting seeing what will happen in season three. these 2, I should say, if they have a season 2.
Damn, you already greenlight them for
No,
season
no,
2?
I know. I kinda that was a Freudian slip right there. If the next season 2, but there's room for improvement, and I hope they do get there. So that's just a solid stream it for me.
Yeah, and Kurt Russell's always charming. He's
Oh,
he's
yeah.
always likable. Kurt Russell, you see why he's a movie star. I
No.
don't think his son is as charming as he is.
No, but he did
Um,
do a solid job.
he did a solid job, and when they kinda cut back and forth between them, I'm like, I don't know, I don't think they really look that much alike. So it's
Oh,
not
you
like
kidding?
I don't really think they look really that much alike. I don't know,
Young
maybe
Kurt Russell versus Wyatt, there's some good resemblance.
I guess maybe a little bit, maybe more younger. Yeah, I
Younger.
guess. Yeah, maybe more younger kinda Kurt Russell, I
Rated M
guess.
for maturity. If you don't have Apple Plus, is it worth signing up for this? No.
Well, I mean, Apple Plus, they
It
do
has
have
other great stuff though.
Severance on there, which is really good. I have to watch that. I hear that's really good with
Yeah.
Adam Scott on there. They also have Ted Lasso if you wanna watch that. They
Ted
also have
Lasso's good.
they have some good documentaries, like the Still documentary with Michael
Yeah.
J. Fox on there if you wanna watch that. So there's some other kinda it's building its library more and more. Apple Plus is.
Apple
Um
Plus is probably one of the more I would say quality current streaming services that has a lot of good just original programming on there. So this I wouldn't say would be your reason why to get it, but while you're there, you know,
Yeah. I don't think it's not a streaming selling show like
yeah,
oh, it would be a streaming selling show like I'm
like
trying to think of something.
Daredevil, Netflix.
Yeah, maybe something like that. I don't think it's like, man, like if you had to get a streaming service to watch a show, like this is the show that you would get a streaming service for. Like I don't really think it's that good, but I think it's solid. And this is young Kurt Russell right here. So I guess with this picture, yeah, I could see more Wyatt.
Yeah, young Kurt Russell with Wyatt Russell. Yeah, very much so.
Okay. Yeah, I see a little bit more of that there. Yeah. Did you like some kind of the romance kind of elements that kind of come into play in the show or no?
Um, some of it works, some of it doesn't. Uh, I think in a way, if they're going to do that, I would have liked to seen a little bit more of how that pans out. But the way the show kind of goes, half of that kind of gets dropped a little bit, and the other half is just kind of left longingly and never really kind of culminated. And I feel bad for Bill, honestly, for the most part. I feel real bad for Bill Randa.
Yeah. And Anders Holm, like you mentioned, he plays the younger Bill, who's played by John Goodman in Kong Skull Island, who comes back and makes kind of new appearances in this via footage here. And so that's kind of one connection you have to, the movies there as he's playing that character. I
Yeah,
do agree with you. I think the trio from the 50s, 60s is better than the trio. I think they are kind of better wise there. And then Raiden Intrusion, he's got a lot of Goldie Hawn in his face too. Yeah, you can see
yeah,
that too.
yeah, definitely.
You can see that, but it's nice to have the balance of like something like this, Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, and Godzilla minus one. It's the human element before
Yeah.
you get this shit. Before you get, oh yeah,
Oh
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Oh,
yeah, let's go,
absolutely.
let's
No,
go.
yeah, yeah, no, that's gonna be glorious trash, and I'm there for it. But yeah, it's a completely different vibe. Which is weird because the Monarch series feels much closer to the 2014 Godzilla, where it was trying to take itself seriously before Skull Island and the Godzilla versus Kong, where they just said tone. What's that?
Yeah. So I mean, it's good that at least you get some different, balance there a little bit
Yeah,
between those two. Like
right. It's
Godzilla
twice as
minus
amazing.
one, more of a stronger human element
Oh
there than
yeah,
just go like, hey, it's big monster and big monster, they fighting the big monster. So there's that.
this one's pink this time.
It's pink, yeah, you know what I mean? It's got new color to it. So he leveled up. He's like a Super Saiyan. He
Pretty
went
much.
Godzilla pink, so there. So yeah, so you gave it a streaming, I gave it a tune in for Monarch Legacy of Monsters there. Sorry we didn't probably maybe go into too much there because it is spoilers to kind of get there. There's a lot of things that kind of get revealed in the show there that we didn't want to probably give up
Level
there.
of rating for maturity. Does the level of goofy in the movies undercut the material of the show? They actually mostly avoid a lot of the goofier elements, and they do treat the Titans as a serious issue.
Yeah. That's true. They don't, yeah, it's not just like, "Oh, shit," you know what I mean? this monster's fighting this monster, and that's cool. And
It's more like a, "Oh my god, they're fighting each other and they're causing collateral damage."
yeah, like they're fighting each other. Get the fuck out of here. We gotta leave
Yeah.
now. So yeah, there's that. But yeah. But I think where the kind of the mystery goes and everything, I was kind of hooked in that. I was kind
Mm.
of like, I want to find out. I was waiting to find out what's going to happen next, and where it leaves off, it's like, oh, okay, so it has still somewhere to go there. Which is nice. Yeah.